She's gone now.
Yeah, she will rejoin. I was just notified when I was starting the recording, but she'll be able to rejoin. I wanted her to tell us a bit about the organization she founded, the Women in Manufacturing.
Right.
All right, she'll come back.
Mm-hmm.
We also want to say hi to us as we wait for the rest. No one wants to say hi. We had about 70 guests registered for this. I don't know how many of them are going to show up.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, 70. So right now, I think we already have.
You're only like just seeing note takers.
Yes. Well, note takers, but we have Margaret, we have John, I think we have 4.
Yeah, we're about 11 people if I count even the note takers.
Yes. Yes. I think that's a good start. Okay, Blessing is back.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome back, Blessing. You're muted.
Thank you.
Very good. We can hear you now.
Yes, you were telling me about the women in manufacturing before everyone joined in. Sorry, I know you'll tell this to the others, but they say the early bird catches the worm. So let's catch the worm.
Okay, so I said that it was surprise. It's not actually a surprise to see that we have very few women in manufacturing. And in truth, things are better now than before because many organizations are trying to comply with United Nations laws on equity and all that. So trying to get parity with the women, but still, we still have very few women, especially in leadership roles. So the idea about women in manufacturing Africa, it's about not just inspiring people that are already in the profession, but to go to our universities, go to our institutions, and tell younger ladies that they can actually be something very great in the manufacturing space where it's popularly known as a man-driven profession, or everybody on the shop floor is either a man or is described as a man, so it's a space where we need to inspire more women through mentorship, through guidance, help them to see that more women can actually earn their space at that table of leadership. So that's basically what it's about. And I said that currently we have over 120 members of manufacturing or students that want to join the manufacturing space. So we are like 120, and we are on our course to register it officially under the Nigerian Law Corporate Affairs Commission. I beg your pardon. So we are about to do that. I think in April we would finalize that, and then we can go like, yeah.
Yeah, that is a great initiative, Blessing. Looking forward
So currently we've
to.
visited like a couple of schools, and a lot have joined already. So we hope to do more.
Sure, definitely are going to do more. Yes. Who else wants to tell us hi? Who else is here? Eunice, you want to say hi? Carol. We have Margaret. You can just unmute and tell us hi as we wait for more people. We give them some 10 minutes and then we'll just start. Anyway, Tangi, how's Fari?
Paris is good. Actually, I'm still a little bit jet lagged, right?
Sorry.
I arrived actually yesterday morning, 6 a.m. Eastern time. Right now it's 6:07, but it's good. I was downtown. I was in close to La Tour Eiffel this afternoon.
Mhm.
So I'm here for both, business and personal. So
Mm.
that's this webinar I think is important, right? That's what I say. You know what? Even if I'm here, I'm going to take the time to have a chat with you and with your audience to discuss food safety.
And I don't take it for granted. I truly appreciate it. When you told me you're going to just shift your schedule for this, I was so
Yes.
humbled, and we are glad to have you. Mm.
Thank you. Thank you. I'm
Mhm.
returning to right after this I'm going to have another, that's not a meeting, that's going to be,
Mm.
personal meeting, let's put it
Yeah.
that later on. Yes,
Mm.
but it's good. Yeah.
No worries.
Is it cold? Is it warm? Is it rainy? Is it sunny? No, it cannot be sunny because it's 8 p.m.
Yeah, it's rainy currently. We've had a bit of flash floods actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been raining, but for the past 2 days, it hasn't rained
Okay.
that much where I am. I don't know, maybe other people can tell us whether it's rained where they are.
Hmm.
Yes, but unfortunately, some people lost their lives over
Oh
this
no.
past month. Yes,
Okay. Oh wow.
yeah, but it's a bit cold currently.
Okay. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so even in Paris, yeah, it's a little bit cold, but
Mm-hmm.
warmer than Canada. I can tell you that.
Warmer than Kenya?
Canada is cold.
Oh yeah, Kenya is warmer, definitely.
Yeah, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay,
So yeah,
that's how
so it's
many
your call.
minutes?
Yeah.
Yes, what did you say?
No, I was saying it's your call. We're ready. We start whenever you're ready.
Yes, I'm just giving them some more minutes, maybe a bit
Hmm.
5. Then we start at exactly 8:15.
Okay.
Yeah. So if anyone has anything to say, you can say it. If you want to just smile at me, you can also smile at me.
Mhm.
Yes.
Are there more other than AFMAS? Are there more trade shows or event in Nairobi this summer?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think there's more. There's actually another one, but that other one is on finance.
Okay.
Yes, and there's another one that will come up around October.
Mm-hmm.
Check.
Okay.
Yeah.
Very
Let
good.
me just try alert some of these people that we
Mm-hmm.
are on
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
so that we don't waste much time. We have 4 more minutes. Then we
Okay.
start.
Very good. Maybe since we have since we have, maybe they can do a small tour de table to see who is here and what do you expect from this session.
Sorry, what did you say?
I was saying, since we a small group and everybody's online, we can see them, they can see us. Maybe we can do a quick tour de table to see who is here and what they expect from the session.
Yes, I told
Okay.
them earlier to just unmute, say hi. If you can turn on your camera, you can also turn on your camera and just say hi.
Yeah, I think that would be great.
Take
Yeah.
advantage of this opportunity.
Absolutely. And if there's something, an expectation that you have, something that you want to take away, I think that would be a good time to talk about it so we can
Yeah.
discuss that as well.
Sure.
Whoever has the courage to do it. John, I know you don't need courage, John, so you can go ahead.
Sorry, Tanga. My phone is my battery is a bit low, but so I'll not put on the video. But
Right.
I'm looking at actually learning from yourself and the participants. Really, what would constitute being ready to go digital? You know.
Mm-hmm.
So that when I meet my clients, I'm able to nudge them towards that direction of getting ready. Yeah.
Excellent.
Thank you, John. Who wants to go next? Carol, do you want to go next? Or Randati? Would like to go next? Everyone is shy. Use the chat if you're shy. If you don't want us to hear your voice, you can also use the chat. Just type.
Yeah, that's a great idea. I think Joseph
Yes,
Joseph
Joseph.
wants to go ahead. Yeah. Yes, Joseph, you can go ahead.
Thank you. Thank you for organizing this. I think it's very good and very important for us. Yeah, I think mine will be, we are trying to establish
Go ahead.
food safety system in our company, but we don't want to be using the hard copy
Mm-hmm.
records. Yeah, my boss is really against it. So he is very much open to suggestions on how we can be able to leverage on technology, and because we want also to be sustainable.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. So yes, how can we be able to do document, especially on documentation, document control? Yes, and especially if somebody has to do the recording and then another person has to do the verification, the signing, and everything else. Yes, just how can I be able to implement a system like that is purely on tech and less and less, and if probable, yes, zero on paperwork. I'll appreciate. Thank you.
Perfect.
That's great, Joseph. I'm actually thinking you both should pay me for organizing this
There
because
you
you're
go.
going to live here with Boyd.
Yes, that's true.
You're going to live here tech ready. Thank you. These people should pay us, right? Bless you.
That's amazing. That's great insight, Joseph.
Yes.
Yeah, thank you very much.
Yes, and our time is up. We're not going to wait for anyone anymore. So we'll just go ahead. And since Blessing joined first, you're going to do us the honors of giving us that beautiful intro. Who is Blessing? And don't forget to tell us one fun fact about you. You're muted. Yes.
Yeah, I realize that. Thank you very much. So, where do I start? Okay, so I'm Blessed Otunova. I'm from Nigeria, and I've been practicing as a quality and food safety professional for 10 years now. And currently, I manage one of the largest PepsiCo operations in Nigeria. Their bottling plant in Nigeria. So I manage one of their largest operations as the quality manager for the plant. I'm also a certified quality and food safety lead auditor. And currently, I'm about to do a Lean Six Sigma black belt because I've done so many projects and I don't have it written in any professional platform. So I want to do a Lean Six Sigma black belt in a couple of days. Yeah. I just finished my MBA with Rome Business School. So yes, of course, I have an MBA to my name. And then currently I run a program with Chartered Institute of Logistics and Supply Chain Management in Nigeria. So I'm almost done with the program as well. So one thing you will see about me that is consistent is that I am given to continuous improvement in my knowledge base. I always want to learn, unlearn, and relearn. So that's one thing that is constant about me. Fun fact I will say is that I love to travel, but I hate long travels if I have to be on transit. So somehow I love to travel, but how I manage long travels is a mystery. So I love to travel, I love to try new places, but I am very inelastic when it comes to trying new food. So I may come to a place and it takes me so much a long time to adjust, but then I'm learning little by little. So I think that's just a brief about me. So many things. So currently I'm in Port Harcourt for a transformational summit for HSC and quality professionals in Nigeria. So I was one of their keynote speakers. And basically that's just a summary of who I am. Thank you.
Wow. When I grow up, I want to be like you. And it's also an interesting thing to note, everyone. Both Tangi and Blessing are on transit, but they chose to make time for this. How lucky are we to have them here? Yes. Tangi, you're next.
Thank you, Catherine. So I like to start with a fun fact because my whole life is a fun fact, right? So um, yeah, because we live we live about what if we're lucky 80 years. So if you don't have fun in your life, that's gonna be 80 long years, right? So
Yeah.
even the fact that I'm in food safety, actually, it is one of the fun fact. I was a couple of years ago, I was still a young man in Cameroon. I was having mango with my dad, and the mango was so delicious that I said, you know what, Dad? If we can only have mango the whole year, that would be amazing because you have mango season, right? And he told me, hey, that's a very good idea. Maybe you're going to be the first one to find the formula to have the mango the whole year. Then we're going to have it the whole year. That's the only reason I get into food safety, to find how to eat mango the whole year. Right. So that's how I get into food safety. I enjoy working food safety for many years now, over 30 years already. And I started Nomex. Nomex, that's my company, a food safety management company, just out of food safety, doing consulting, and helping clients implementing food safety requirements for all the standards. And then we get into digital transformation, and that's what I've been doing for the last 20 years now, talking about digital transformation, right? And yeah, so I'm originally from Cameroon. I live in Canada, and my heart is in Africa. That's why I accepted, this invitation, Catherine. That's an honor for me to be here and to discuss a digital transformation in food safety. So Nomex, it's in 5 countries now, and we keep expanding. Yeah.
Wow, beautiful, beautiful intro, Tangi. It's truly a pleasure to have you. And to our topic today, most of the time when we hear about technology, it just comes with a lot of overwhelm. The first thought is like, is it really necessary? We are used to doing our things the way we're used to doing it. It has worked for us either way. So what is this you're telling us? We're just a small company. Are you going to be able to afford it? And sometimes you don't even understand what it means, especially when it comes to food safety, as we saw even in most questions. So when you just talk about companies wanting to go digital in food safety, like what does that actually mean?
Is that a question for me or for Blessing?
Yes, that's a question for you. And then Blessing will chip in after.
Yes. So when we say we're going digital, that can mean many, many things, right? Because digital is going away from paperwork. That's the only definition. So if someone says, "Hey, I'm using Excel," well, that's some digital transformation already. If someone says, "I'm losing SharePoint, I'm losing Word, I'm losing," so digital transformation has been here for some times now because we all use computers, right? We don't use paperwork to do accounting, for example. You have now accounting software, so we don't write letters to send to to our contacts. We write emails. So
Yeah.
we are already in the middle of digital transformation. Now for businesses, that's a different story, because businesses, if we talk about food safety management, businesses are still using paperwork, most of the businesses. And that's something that I always like to speak when I have speaking events. Even in North America, less than 60% of companies have already transitioned into digital means. And we talk about why it's important, the type of opportunities that are missed, and so on and so forth. So just to summarize, to say in the question, digital transformation is to use an electronic mean, something other than paperwork. That's why we're going digital. And then there can be some advantage to doing that.
Thank you, Tangi. What are your thoughts on that, Blessing?
Okay, so thank you. For me, I say that digital transformation is from paperwork to digitization, and then from
Mm,
digital to digital transformation. So what do I mean? Of course, like Tangi has earlier said, most organizations are looking for ways to, especially with the goal of the United Nations on environmental sustainability, there is this call to reduce paperwork, energy consumption that is needed to produce the paper in the first place. So because of that ESG compliance that most regulations are demanding, organizations are feeling, okay, the only way we can position ourselves better is what tool that we supposed to read. But beyond reducing the paperwork is also looking at introducing better technology to help make what you're doing before, aside the fact that we're going to use less paper, we're looking for ways to make it more seamless. So that's another way to see digital transformation.
nice. And where do you think most companies get it wrong when it comes to digitization?
Okay,
Just
that's a
continue, Blessing, before you hand over to Tangi.
okay. So where most organizations get it wrong is, first, you're trying to digitalize, if there's a word like that,
Yes,
a
there is.
system, that is not standardized.
Mm,
Okay. That's where you get it wrong, when the foundations are in error. So you cannot digitize something that is not standardized yet. So when you look at the maturity level of your organization, because there is such a thing called maturity level of organizations, especially when you are in the food space. Let's bring it back to the food space, what we're discussing now. You need to understand the maturity level of your organization. There are 5 maturity levels. So we have the chaotic, we have the managed phase, we have the quantitatively managed, and all that down to the optimized level. You need to understand where you are. If your maturity level is still on level 1 and level 2, The level 1 is the chaotic, where you don't have any processing in place. Level 2 is where you have processes, but they are not standardized. So when you are still on level 1 or 2, bringing any digital tool or digital transformation at that level, I hope you can still hear me.
Yes, we can.
Okay, so bringing any digital transformation at that point is only going to help make your flawed processes obvious. So you see that you have double handling when it comes to documentation. Yes, we have the technology in place, but we are still doing with our paperwork because so many things are not standardized. Okay, so you're going to have double handling because the maturity level of the organization have not got to the point where they are standardized, where they quantitatively managed. That is, they can trend their data, and where continuous improvement is at the core of what they do. If they don't have that culture first, the foundation is not right. If you're bringing any digital tool, you're getting it wrong, because growth will expose your flawed processes. You need to have systems and structures first before you bring digital transformation. In fact, it should be this way. You should first align with people. Then after aligning with people, you can now standardize your process. After standardizing your process, you can now introduce technology. After introducing technology, you can now finally sustain it with culture. That is the only way you can get it right as an organization. But if you are bringing technology, you've not aligned with the people through training, you've not also sustained a particular culture in your organization. Bringing any digital tool will only expose your process. Thank you.
Wow, that was profound, and I could see Tangi nodding throughout. Tell us more, Tangi. Tell us more.
Absolutely. And thank you, Blessing, for pointing those, because we've seen that, and we see it on a daily basis, because we do so many implementations, and we've seen the good, we've seen the bad, and we've seen the ugly, right? So in this case, we're going to talk about the ugly ones. I'm going to take, for example, let's do a use case together. For example, Joseph just mentioned about his company, and I think that was a good intro. So Joseph, what's the name of the company that you're working for? Can you still hear me, Joseph?
Yes. The name is Greenspoon Limited.
Lensman?
Greenspoon.
Vinsman?
Greenspoon.
Okay.
Yes.
So let's say, for example, Normex implements Greenspoon wants to digitalize. They want to do a digital transformation project towards food safety. And we are going to consider exactly what Blessing mentioned. We have to standardize, right? If it's not standardized, what I mean by standardized, in addition even to what Blessing added, you need to have a quality manager in place. When you don't have a quality manager or a quality coordinator, someone responsible to coordinate food safety management, it's going to be very, very difficult, because that's a whole different area than just leading the company. Because the executive, they have some work to do. Most of the time they don't know the detail, and they're not food safety expert. So what we've seen is, when the company does not have, let's say Greenspoon, they don't have a food safety expert or food safety coordinator, it's going to be a very tough implementation. That's one. Why? Because when we do the implementation, we're going to ask them for questions, and those questions need to be responded by someone who is knowledgeable. If we implement, for example, hey, we're doing a pre-op inspection module, that's what we're going to upload in our software. Someone needs to have a clue about pre-op inspection, right? Someone needs to have a clue about building inspection, sanitation, and so on. So that's one of the things. Second thing that we've seen is, even when they have a food safety coordinator internally, they have to, most of the time, when they want to implement everything at once, they get in trouble, because they're so in a hurry to implement the whole software. They want to digitalize everything. During the first couple of weeks, they are going to get discouraged, because there are some there are many forms that we're talking about here, because if we talk about FSSC 22000, for example, it's over 300 requirement. So what we've seen is, if the company wants to implement everything at once and wants to transform everything at once, expectation is very important. Those are that's another area that we've seen when the project fails. They have so high expectation. They think that by digital transforming our company, it means we click on a button and then everything is electronic. There is some work that needs to be done, right? And the work is, hey, we're going to upload the documentation, we're going to create the checklist. Once we do, we're going to train employees. Once we do all this, then we can start. We can talk about the next steps, right? To digitalize. The other thing is, a good implementation means going step by step. Step one, we say, for example, you have to do only daily checklist. That's all. We don't do anything else, because if you try to do many things at once, you're going to lose your employees. They have other things to do, right? So those are the things we always put in place. So when we see an implementation that didn't work, is one, it wasn't standardized, as Blessing mentioned, or the quality management team was not. There was no quality management, or there was no quality coordinator or food safety coordinator, you name it. Or three, they wanted to do everything at once. And actually, the last one is the one that we see often. So the very first step is to set expectation when we do a digital transformation project. Once they understand the expectation, this project will take from 1 to 3 months, and then after that time, you will have a fully operated food safety management system on a computer, on a software. Then they can start working on those steps. So those are the good implementation.
Nice, nice. So you've mentioned some of the warning signs that you're not ready, and you've also touched a bit of some of the signs that shows you're ready, like standardization, employee training, and all that. So if you were to just give me like five early signs that will show that a company is really ready to go digital,
Yeah.
what would they be?
So if I
Including
give you
what you
5,
already said. Yeah.
I always like to Blessing mentioned something that's so important. She mentioned it wasn't PMP, it was black belt. I think that's what you mentioned, right? You wanted to go black belt. So I'm a black belt, by the way. And what it means is, we always look at the 80-20 rules, right? So we say, okay, what do we do? What are the 20% that have the 80% impact, that have the most impact? The very first thing when we talk about implementation is exactly that. What are we going to do so it has the biggest impact? We always like to have the management approval, because what happens is, management, most of the time, if they say, hey, here's the money, I give you the money, and then you take off the rest, it will not work, right? And there's a reason why when you see all those GFSI standard, they always talk about management commitment, right? So for digital implementation is exactly the same thing. So management has to be committed. So if they say we're going for that road, that means they have to provide the resources. We're talking about human resources, financial resources, and so on. They have to support the implementation team towards digital transformation. If they only give the money, and then while we're on the training for digital transformation, they need the employee to go on the floor, well, it will not work. So to me, that's the biggest one, to have that management commitment. And then, of course, once the management provides the commitment, then at that level, it will be now the training on the employees. We train the employee on how to use and what are the steps that they need to take. Once we have those, we know everything else works fine. Because yes, we're talking about a computer and software, but it's very easy, because it's as easy as clicking on a button instead of signing on a sheet of paper. So management commitment and training, those are the two biggest, the two important areas to implement.
Blessing, do you have anything to add before you move on?
I think Tangi has touched most of it. Let me just add a few. Another thing that will show that you're ready to actually go digital is the culture. So let me give an example of where I work. There was a time where food safety culture was nothing to write home about. If at that point in time we decided to digitalize everything that we are doing, we'll be getting it all wrong. But before we started implementing some Lean Six Sigma tools and methodologies, we had to first of all go do some Gemba work, go to the shop floor, understand why people act the way they do. You need to understand what is actually setting the precedence for the bad culture. Try to um, correct bad behavior and reward good behavior. And then we began to readjust the culture. Of course, we subscribed to a couple of standards that helped us to have that level of compliance in check. And by the time we're ready to go digital, it was quite easier because the technology is currently riding on the culture. So before you think of going live with your before you think of going live with your tools or whatever technology you want to employ, you must first fix culture, because people are the heart of operations. Mackenzie will say that there are seven S's that make up organizations. You have style of leadership, staff, system, structures, and mentioned so many shared values and all that. But at the core of it all is people. So you need people to drive all of this, including the technology, because you may get the technology right, you may even get the processes right, but if the people, you get it wrong with the people, you won't be able to drive both the technology and the process. So you need to get it right with people, get the buy-ins of those on the shop floor, get the buy-ins of those who are making the decisions, get the buy-ins of people who make, they may seem like they're not adding to your organization, like maybe the person at the gate, help them to understand your quality and food safety policy, drive the culture from bottom up and up down bottom, or how do I put it, from the top to the bottom. So when you drive it that way, when it's a two-way traffic, when there's a good culture in the organization, you can now think about introducing whatever technology you want to introduce, because they say culture will eat strategy for breakfast, right? And even lunch and dinner. So you need to have the right culture in the organization before you bring in any kind of technology. Thank you.
Wow, that is great. And it's good you've mentioned that some systems just exist on paper, but they never translate into real operations. Where do you think that disconnect usually comes from? Tangi?
The disconnect between, you said the disconnect between paperwork and translation into operation.
Yes.
I always like to go with I'm very big on training, because everybody is able to do the things that is supposed to do when they have the proper training, right? So I like the culture, the food safety culture approach, because the culture is so important, right? Because whenever you have a food safety culture, and it goes from top to bottom, the culture. So if you have you can have the most beautiful system on earth. That's why we are in so many committees to change the approach on food safety, because what we've seen, in food safety right now, all those food safety schemes, they ask for many procedures, and many companies that we've seen, by the way, they work to get certified. They don't work to have a food safety program implemented. You see the difference, right? There's a huge nuance between both. So you'll have many companies that are very good at have been certified, but they still have a recall. Why? Because the food safety culture is not fully implemented. So that's why I see the disconnect. The reason why we built Nomex is not to get companies certified. The reason why we built Nomex is to ensure company does food safety the right way. So let's say you use food safety, you have a food safety program with paperwork. One, how are you going to be able to do your traceability in a few hours, especially if you move your product very fast, especially if the government is at your door, especially so you have many examples where by using a food safety system on paperwork, you can see that disconnect from the document that you created to the operation flow, especially if you don't have that automation. We always talk about traceability. We talk about even inventory management. We talk about how you do your monitoring task versus your verification task. If you do that with paperwork, yes, of course, you have a disconnect, especially in documentation. Some company have multi-sites. One, quality manager, overseeing all the sites. It's obvious that there's a disconnect. You don't have information in real time. You can have a contamination site one, for example. You, as a quality manager, you only hear about it the next day. When you have that information online, it's going to flag you, and then you're going to be able to see, this is the problem that I have. I can act upon it right away. So to me, that's the way to fix the disconnect, by having your quality manager and your operators on the same platform to be able to communicate that way. That's the way that we propose to fix it.
Wow, great. Blessing, do you want to chip in?
Okay, so what I would say is the disconnect here is, why do you want to seek for a certification in the first? Is it to improve your system, or because you have partnerships that you are seeking? So let it just be in there for doing. The why is actually what makes organizations want to seek either continuous improvement, or they want to seek just for political gains, right? So you have to fix that why first. Why do we want to go for that? What is this? Some organizations, when they have a non-conformity during their audits, they see it as a bad thing. They see it as something that is not good. An NC is totally bad. An NC is only saying there is an area we can improve. So why there is a disconnect is because why the organizations have this certification in the first place is not right. So you're having the management support to be able to drive your management system. And even if at all you have the management support, the training now comes in as well. Like Tange has said, if you don't have the people down there understanding what you are hoping to achieve through your management system, then you have failed. If the least person in your organization, even including a visitor, cannot understand what your organization is about just by walking through your facility, then you have failed management system, because you should be able to communicate your management system that is on paper to the people. And that's why sometimes when we do audits, you see that you fail a particular organization, you book them in major non-conformity. Why? Because the gateman does not understand their policy. It's a non-conformity. The janitor does not understand the policy, so there's no communication. So you only do that through training and reinforcement of knowledge. So like he said, training is important, but you also need that why to be fixed, because there are some organizations that they will get the management system, but they would bring strategies and systems that will not make that management system to thrive. So we need to fix that first, from top, bottom, and bottom up.
Great. Top, bottom, bottom up, just like food safety culture. So let's say, Tangi, we digitize this weak system of ours. What would be the first thing to break?
The first thing to break, I'll say, old habits are our biggest, roadblock. The old habits, the habit that says we always done it this way. I'm sure you've heard.
Oh,
it,
yeah.
right? Everybody says that, and that's one of the biggest issues when you have a lot of experience, right? Because when you have a lot of experience, most of us, we tend to be not flexible anymore. So we tend to forget that we still have to learn, right? You've been in the industry for 20 years, and because you've done it certain things a certain way, you think it's the best way to do it. But believe me, it's not. Why? It's not because, things always evolve. There's always a better way, a new approach, a more efficient way, and so on and so forth to do things. So when you have, digital transformation, we talk about AI, we talk about IoT, that's Internet of Things. We talk about many, many things that makes our life easier, especially on food safety. We have to embrace it. And one of the biggest areas to me is to discuss about how to become more flexible in terms of we always done it this way. It doesn't work anymore. One thing that I have to say is all our the company that we're working for, they all have competitors, right? And the competitors, they are looking at ways to make their life easier. People are using AI now to write procedures. That's digital transformation. People are using Internet of Things. So all that, for example, at Nomics, those are the things that we have embedded in the software. So if you don't use AI, for example, you're gonna have excuse my language, but you're gonna have your ass kicked by someone who's using AI. And that's the truth. It's the truth. So we have to train, right?
Yeah.
Is on the floor to think about always the the next best approach, not we've always done this way. That's, to me, that will be the biggest area where I will focus on. That's what we do when we do implementation.
Thank you, Tangi. Back to you, Blessing. So when people were registering, one of the stuff they continuously mentioned was resistance from staff and some difficulty in building a quality culture. So why do you think teams resist digital systems, even when we know clearly from what you've said, they're beneficial?
Okay, first, change is uncomfortable.
True.
And like Tangi earlier said, when you are bringing in a new tool or a new technology or a new solution, first, you need to understand what is setting the precedence. Some is out of security. This thing that they are bringing now will take our job. This technology they are bringing now will expose our incapabilities. So need to understand what is actually setting that precedence, what is setting that cue, what's making them resist the change. So you need to understand the theory of human behavior before you can bring in a solution. Now, when you understand what is actually causing them to behave that way, the second thing is most times we want change to be dramatic. We want change to be drastic. Let me paint a typical example. So there was an organization I worked for, and if you know the ERP system they call Navision, that's what they were using, and they wanted to transition from Navision to SAP. That's a very big change, and they wanted that change across their entire plants. They have several plants in Nigeria, and they wanted to implement that solution, and you wanted to do it in the shortest possible time. Now, you've not considered the knowledge base of the people that will be using this tool. How educated are they when it comes to digital exposure? So that was not considered, that was not factored in. And what would be the implication of this change? So you need to consider what we call change management. You have to go through a proper change management process. What is the risk? Why do we want to move from this technology to this technology? What is the risk assessment we have done? If we implement this change, what will be affected? What will not be affected? So most times people don't do the proper risk assessment. And because they don't do the proper risk assessment, the people have seen historical that have happened in the organization that went south. So they would not want to, okay, sorry for to use my Nigerian language, but you're not making an appreciate another one, go work. This is Nigeria. You have people that has not worked like the others that you have brought that didn't work. So they have this history of failure that will make them resist the change you are bringing. Thirdly, if the change is complex, you need to find change. You know, if you want the operators, you want people on the shop floor to embrace a particular, you need to simplify it, make it clear, make it simple. They say keep it simple and short, right? You need to keep it simple to be able to embrace it. Because when it is complex, when it's going to make their work more than it should be, if they know that they will have to do manually and still do digitally, or when they do digitally, they will still have to follow up with setting back end, WhatsApp, and all that. When they know that the change is complex, it's going to add to their work, they would not want to embrace it. And fourth, when they are ignorant of the importance. Because sometimes we just want to dump technologies on people and they don't really understand what is in the mind. Leadership do not communicate. When they don't communicate the why, where is this going to lead us to? So you take them from the end to the beginning, not the beginning to the end. You know, make them understand that, okay, this is it. The world is going here and we need to begin to employ this. Let me give you another typical example. Currently, as a business, because of sustainability, we are currently reducing our plastic usage, even though we are into plastic packaging. What do? We now use more of recycled PET as part of our input. Now, when we wanted to start, some of the people were like, if you use more of recycled PET, it's not going to come out well, it's not going to do this. But by the time we educated them, this is a global move. Some parts of the world are already doing 100% recycled PET, so we can do it. This is what we gain as a business. This is what we are going to do to the environment. This is how we are also going to feed your family members who will be helping with these recycled bottles. You know, this is how we are going to help the community. When they understood what it was very easy to embrace the change. So when people understand the gravity of the change, the importance of the change, they would quickly embrace. Also, when they are taught about it, you know, it's not just about telling them, you need to follow up with training, reinforcement of knowledge. Do they understand? And don't leave them at the point of level 1. Okay, we've told them already. You need to follow up through, you know, continuous reinforcement of knowledge. So yes, sometimes just keep the solution simple and short so that they can embrace it. Understand why they are not embracing it. Why are they resistant to change? Is it making their work harder? Is it also based on historical knowledge? Okay, things that we have done in the past did not work, so we believe that this one you are bringing also would not work. Is it going to make their work doubled? So you need to understand what is informing that, and then you can go through communication. Communication. Continue to speak to those people. Go down to the shop floor. Go down there to understand their pain points, because they believe that so many times management don't understand their pain points. Understand why is it not working. You go down there, ask questions. Okay, this thing that we brought, is it working? They say it's not working. You ask them why. Okay, you go through that 5 whys. Why is it not working? They will tell you their pain points, and you go back, take their feedback. Because that's another problem, that so many management, they are not getting that feedback. Even when they get the feedback, they're not using it. So you take that feedback, go back and feed your process, improve on the system, and then you can now bring it back as a new solution through education and all that. That would finally work. So that's what I feel.
Well, that is so profound. I don't even have anything else to add. Just make everyone understand the reason why they're doing this. Always go back to your why. Thinking all this brings us to another aspect. There was also concern around data entry. Like people can enter inaccurate information. So how do we build discipline around that?
That's a great one. And I can even throw in data entry, data security, data privacy, and so on. So if we only talk about data entry,
those are the concern.
exactly, because those are the things, you know, when we present nomics, for example, the concern is not only about data entry. If someone makes a mistake, what happens? The concern is about, we put the information in your system. Is it our info? Is it our data? Who owns the data? That's one of the concern. The third concern is the data safe? So if you get hacked, for example, what happens with the data? So if you have bugs, what happens to the data? So if we go, let's try to touch on these points. For example, data entry. Our approach is to always say digital transformation is always better. It's not perfect at all. There are things that still needs to be improved, but it's always better than the current situation, right? Because when you have an issue with paperwork, what usually happens, you're going to scratch it out, you restart, or you're going to scratch it out, put your initials as the standard says, and you correct the data. On the computer, it's much more cleaner. So when you make a mistake, you type, for example, you go on the fridge, you take the temperature of the fridge, it was 8 degrees, but you put 10 degrees. You submit. You can always reopen that entry, edit that entry, put 4 degrees, so the right temperature, the ones that you wanted to put, and then submit again. What will happen in the background is the system will tell automatically, Joseph, for example, he reissued the temperature at this time. So there's always a trail about the information that happened when you put your data, your record. It's all auditable. And remember, when you have your food safety audit, what happened during your food safety audit? The auditor always asks you for the log of revision. You know that, right? And the log of revision is, hey, I changed this procedure from revision 1 to revision 2. I changed this checklist. So you have to have document management. I always think about document management when you use paperwork. Think about it. You have to put your information in. If your information is, you have to update the information. If you change your revision, you have to go back on your form, go from revision 1 to revision 2, or you put the date and say to the form, okay, this is the reason that I did my revision. It needs to be auditable. This takes a lot of time, especially if you have a document to review. If you have many documents to review, think about it. You have daily form, weekly form, monthly forms. You have, all these checklists. You do a printing, copy, scanning sometimes. So you have a lot of document to manage. Now, when you go on the piece of, on software, for example, like Nomex, you are going to, so Joseph, I take the example of Joseph because we talked about it a couple of minutes ago. So he's only going to open the software. He's going to put his temperature. He's going to update his procedure. That's it. He doesn't need to worry about anything else. It's done in the background for him. So we have that algorithm that will take his information, create the log of revision for him, say we change from revision 1 to revision 2, ready for an audit. So imagine that, doing that on a daily basis, weekly, monthly, how much time you save during the day. So, and this is only for data entry, right? And then you have things like privacy and so on. So it's much more safe than paperwork, because paperwork, who has never lost paper? We all been guilty of that, right? We've lost paper, we've lost record. It always happen. With software, you cannot lose data. It's there, it's on a server, and we partner. For example, I'm sure Microsoft Azure or AWS. These giants company, those are the partners that we deal with. So they have tens of thousands of servers, and even if one server is down, well, they still have all the other servers. So it's always the runtime is always 100%, and your data is always yours, accessible at any time, downloadable at any time. So that's how I would see that when you talk about data entry, the difference between both, right? Between manual and when you do digital transformation.
Lovely, lovely. Blessing, do you want to add to it? You're good to go. So, Tangi, I also have another question for you.
Yes.
So, let's say Joseph said their company wants to transition to a digital system, right?
Right.
So, Can you tell us what that journey would look like?
That's a great question, and we have this question all the time. People come and say, "Hey, how long does it take to to implement to transform? How long?" So,
Joseph is smiling. He's very happy.
yeah, Joseph is smiling. Yeah, because that's an important question, and we always answer, it depends. We can give you an average of what we see, but it depends on the commitment. I always like to go back to the commitment. So if we look on in an ideal situation where the company, when they come, they've already done their homework, meaning they are ready, right? They're ready internally. The management is committed to doing digital transformation. They have, they have someone responsible for QA, for food safety. It doesn't need to be a quality manager. It doesn't need to be a VP. Just someone responsible for food safety internally. That will be a huge help. So if they have those two, and the journey will be 30 days. We've seen implementation less than 30 days, by the way, believe it or not, right? We always like to tell them from 1 to 3 months. But when there's management commitment and there's someone internally responsible for the implementation, 30 days is done. Meaning we start from things like, can I share my screen with this? Is it possible to share the screen?
Sure, it is.
I think by sharing the screen, you have a better understanding about what I'm talking about here. So can you see this? Can you always see this?
Yeah.
What I'm showing you is we call that 5 steps of implementation. You see, we tell them, hey, this one takes 1 week, 1 week, 1 week, 1 week, 1 week. So 5 weeks, everything is done when they have management commitment and when they have someone responsible for food safety. If they don't have any of those, that's why it can take up to maybe 3 months. Right, because they have to do some search, soul searching internally. But step 1 is what? Step 1 is only they have to do daily checklist. All those standards they talk about pre-op inspection, sanitation. If you have cold rooms, you're going to do temperature checks, right? Once you do that, you're going to run the system for a couple of days. Once you feel comfortable, boom, we go to step 2. Step 2, we're talking about transportation. That's receiving, shipping, and supply management. We don't do anything else. But keep in mind, when you go to step 2, that means you do step 2 and step 1. Now you're going to get to step 3. Those are the non-daily checklists. For example, the sanitation that you do, annually or monthly, the building inspection, the preventive maintenance, so on. Once you get into step 4 in the procedure review, that means you already do step 1, 2, and 3. You see how powerful it is, right? And then you end up doing the HACCP plan, and in a week and a half, you're done. Implementing a full-fledged GFSI system can take from 12 to 18 months. That's scary. But when you have digital transformation, 30 days, maximum 3 months, it's done. We have some client that came to us and they had nothing, and in less than in less than 3 months, they have not only the whole system implemented, and they were already calling for their certification agency to come certify them. If they already have something in place, same thing. We just transition, and then they start operating. So the biggest thing, just to summarize, the most important thing that they have to remember is 1 month to 3 months. And then once all these steps are done, that's where automation starts, because there are some automation. And one of the automation is, as soon as you assign a task to anybody on the floor, that person will have some notification. The system will bug him. Hey, you have to do this. You have to do this. If they don't do this, they're going to keep bugged by the system. So you are the quality manager. You can stay in peace because you know that the system is doing the reminders for you. And once anybody on the operation floor has done the task, Joseph again receive the notification that says, hey, this person has done the task. You can now go ahead and then approve. And that's how the system is balancing out for who is doing the monitoring task and who is doing the verification task.
So how does this play out? Does it interrupt the normal operations?
Sorry, Catherine, I didn't get that.
Sorry. I'm saying, how does this play out? Will it interrupt like normal operations, or we can just continue as usual?
No more operations?
Yes, sir. We are digitizing, yes?
Yes.
So before digitalization, there was a system that we were using, maybe paper, Excel, or what? Like, do we need to like stop, or we just continue? Is there anything that is going to be affected? Do's
Yes.
and don'ts, yes.
Yes. You know,
Mhm.
the butterfly, right?
Mhm.
Before the butterfly becomes the butterfly, what is it?
Is it a moth or what?
I don't know how
No,
to say that in English.
is it a
I
pupa
know
or
the
a
name in
lava?
French. Yeah, let's call that a lava. Thank you, Blessing. Let's call that a lava, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
I like to take that analogy because the lava will never ever know that it can become that beautiful creator as the butterfly, right?
Yeah.
So what it means that you have many forms that are on paperwork, okay?
Mhm.
But the thing is, once you transition, you become the butterfly. You don't need to stay as a larva anymore. You're
Mhm.
transitioning, okay? And when you
Mhm.
transition, the things that you were doing on a paperwork, now you can do that on a piece of computer. And then
Mhm.
those things have automation, they have reminders, they have. So imagine that you have your cell phone, and your cell phone send you a
Mhm.
notification about a task that needs to be done. You click the
Yeah.
button, then you have the checklist, the same checklist that you used to have on paperwork. Nice on the computer. You don't need to type as much. You click, and then it goes to the right person. So that's what I call about the butterfly, right? So you have
Mhm.
one step above what you were doing before with less effort. And one of the things that we always tell anybody, the human nature is driven more than the loss than what they gain. So if
Mhm.
you're gonna have $1 million, the person will react less fast than if you tell him, if you don't do XYZ, you're gonna
Mhm.
lose 1 million. You see the difference, right? So when
Mhm.
we approach them, we don't talk about what they're gonna gain. We talk about
Mhm.
what they're currently losing right now. And if you use paperwork right now, we can
Mhm.
tell you for a fact, because we've analyzed that with many companies, because they print,
Yeah.
they copy, they photocopy, some of them even scan to put it back on computers, right? They have to manage versions, they have to manage revisions, they have to take paperwork from one area, sign, put it in a bind. When we enter the facility, we start doing that with them, and then
Mhm.
all of a sudden they realize, hey, my goodness, I'm losing 20K per month. I'm losing $30,000 per month. We talked to a company in California. They were losing, when we did that, we were at about $6,000
Mhm.
because of all these inefficiency. And those are the things that they were able to see. And once it transitioned, pricing the software was not an issue anymore because they knew how much money they were losing just operating that way, right? And the company that do understand this earlier are the ones that have the most impact.
Wow. It's good you've mentioned cost actually, Tangi, but let me come back to Blessing and then I'll come
Yes,
back to you on that issue.
of course. Yeah.
Many SMEs, when they hear about tech, they usually just worried about the cost. So how can they think about this adoption without actually overextending financially?
Okay, so like Tangi just said,
Mm.
so when we are presenting these solutions,
Mm-hmm.
we need to do it in form of a business case. When I say a business case, what top management is looking at, of course, is the financials. And as much as yes, they don't want to you don't want to overshoot the budget and all that. You need to present it in a way that management will see it and are interested in it. So like Tange said, for some businesses or for most businesses, they want to look at what they are losing more than what they will stand to gain.
Mm.
So that's where the business case comes. You need to first of all define what the problem is that this particular digital tool is going to solve. After defining what it wants to solve, you have to define, okay, what are current losses? Because truth be told, before any business would want to invest their money in any solution, they want to see what are they currently losing and what they will start to gain in the end if they adopt it. So for me, I feel that businesses will adopt regardless of budget if they understand, if they know their current losses and what they stand to gain with the solution. But most times, people bring solutions without accurately doing it in form of a business case. Why? What is the current financial bottom line that this particular solution is going to address? What are the current KPIs that this will address? So before an organization would invest in a technology in adopting a solution for, say, defects, you need to understand what is it in monetary terms. What are the current losses? So yes, I know the question says, how can businesses, not get scared because of the financials? But I tell you, if you bring your business case right, put it in a way that it would sound sensible to the owners of the business, I can tell you for a fact there is no solution any organization would not adopt. But sometimes the problem is our presentation, especially for us as quality professionals. And that's another reason why quality professionals need to understand financials. You need to understand, okay, what is the current cost of goods sold? What is if I'm going to adopt this technology, where is it going? What's the bottom line? What is it going to address? Is it addressing cost of goods sold, cost of importation, is it going to affect FX fluctuations? What is it going to affect? So you need to understand that businesses can adopt digital solutions if it makes business sense. It has to make business sense. So because they know they want to make more profit or reduce their overhead costs. So if it is going to reduce overhead costs, please show me how it will reduce my overhead costs, because organizations want to see, how can I reduce costs as minimum as possible, or how can I make more profit? So you need to show through your digital tool how this is feasible. But sometimes we just make emotional noise. Yes, want to adopt this solution. It is going to help us to reduce our paperwork. So what? So it has to make business sense. So when it makes business sense, it's transaction. So see yourself as a business owner. Why should I adopt it when the manual work is not? I'm not losing. if maybe I need 5 people to do paperwork and I'm getting it done and I'm still making profit, show me why I need to adopt that solution that will make me make more or spend less. So I think the conversation should not be making it sound as if business owners are scared of the financials when it comes to digital. They are not scared of the financials. They are only scared that the solution is not making business sense. So make the solution make business sense. Make it sound let's not just appear as though it is addressing a problem. It should not just address a problem. It should make business sense. So put it in the form of a business case, evaluate it well if you are the business owner, because what we feel we want to address, it's not the problem, it's a symptom. Yes, it's the symptom of the problem that you want to solve. So you need to understand financials, understand accounting KPIs. You need to understand that, so that when you are bringing your solution, the CFO is not looking at it and saying this is rubbish now. It doesn't make any sense. If we put our money here, what if it's shooting our inventory, is doing this, is doing that. You need to understand what accounting KPI this is addressing and how can it make business sense, so that if I am pitching it to the CFO, if I'm pitching it to the MD, it's something they can adopt fast. So that should be the conversation.
Wow. I'm hearing you talk, and what is coming to my mind is all about communication, how you package everything. And it takes me back to the masterclass we had last month on communicating. You need to know who you are talking to. What are their pain points? Then that's exactly what you touch on. You hit the nail on the head. And that takes me to tools, Tangi. There are so many tools out there in the market. How do I know which one is the right one for my business?
I like to come back to what Blessing just mentioned, because I think that's very important, and I
Yes.
will, and that will respond to the question at the same time, right? The only way to know as a business, you're looking for, let's say, for example, you already know that you want to transition, you want to go
Yeah.
for software because it makes business sense, right?
Mhm.
Now, how do you compare one solution to the other ones? You need to know exactly what you're looking for. So people do not come to Nomex because because we sell features, for example, or they don't
Mhm.
come to Nomex because we tell them, hey, we removed the paperwork and so on. They come to us because they have a requirement or they have requirements that we meet, right? That's all, and that's a business. That's a business sense. Exactly what Blessing was mentioning. We don't tell them that our goal is to remove paperwork and so on. That's not the goal. The goal is to ensure that you do food safety the right way. That's the business case. What does that mean? It means that as a business owner, if you want to sell your product overseas, you have to ensure that you have a strong food safety team. You have to, because that's your reputation right there. Otherwise, you cannot able to sell your product. You have to do food safety the right way. Now, you have many teams out there that can say, "Hey, I was able to bring 98% in my certification audit," right? It does
Mhm.
not mean that I'm doing the right way. You have to be careful. The right way is I was able to get net 98% during my last FSSC 22,000 audit. How much resources did I use to get my 98%? That's where it makes business sense. I'm the owner of the company. I have two candidates in front of me. The first person says, I'm going to get you 98% during my FSSC 22,000, but it costs me how much dollars to do it? Yes, I have the 98%. The other one say, not only I'm able to get the 98%, but I'm able to do that at a much higher efficiency rate. Why? Because I know how to do it. Who do you think the owner will go to? That's the business sense that we're talking about. So that's what I mean by doing food safety the right way. You can do 10,000 tests in food safety. Only one matters. The ones, right, that will not only improve your food safety hygiene, but the one that will also reduce the probability that you have a return or a recall. Right. So you have tens of thousands of ways of doing that. What I mean by the right way is the business case that we're talking about here. So that's the way I view it, and that's why we created this food safety software, because they are able to do it the right way, not just following certification, right, and showing
Mm.
that we do food safety the right way. Yeah.
Thank you, Tangi. Traceability also came up strongly, especially around how we can integrate it. So if a company wants to ensure that their system is traceable, how can they build that? Where do they start?
Right. So yeah, that's a big topic, traceability, and that's also one of the
That's a whole other webinar.
absolutely that's a big topic, because if I look at I was looking for statistics in Kenya, in Cameroon, we even looked in Nigeria. Maybe we looked the wrong way, but we didn't find statistic for recall. I was able to find statistic in Canada. Do you have statistics?
There's data I was collecting last year. I think I only managed to get about 70 responses.
Okay,
Yes. Yeah.
I'll
But
be
we'll
Yes,
very
continue
very
circulating it.
if you go to NAFDAC, that is
okay.
the National Agency for Food and Drug Commission in Nigeria, you will
Mhm.
see in there some recalls that have been done by the agency. So
That's amazing.
There's some data you can speak. I think as at early this year, I got, I think 100 plus recalls that were documented on that site. So that is
Amazing.
for Nigeria. So I don't know if you can have for Africa or which agency is responsible, but for Nigeria, there are a couple of them. But another problem I would let you know is that Africans are free of documenting improper recall. So because of the
Yes.
implication of a recall. So most organizations, they instead do a withdrawal rather than a recall. So that's what it.
Absolutely. And thank you for that blessing, because I think that's where we struggled a little bit when we're looking for those stats. We're still searching. The reason why I'm talking about it is, in Canada, for example, we have about 220 recalls every year. And when we talk about how much it costs, we're talking about $300 million every year. In the state, it's even much worse. They're talking about 500 million just for recall. That's a lot of money, right? And it's not only a lot of money, but you also have lives at risk, because when you recall, it means that you had some contamination, some potential contaminations in the product. So that's why traceability is so important. When you work with paperwork, you have to keep in mind traceability. You have to do that in 3 areas. One, you have to do that in receiving. You have to know exactly what comes in, what was the lot number, what's the quantity, and who you bought it from. 2, you have to do that in production. What are you using as an ingredient? What lot number, quantity for which ingredient into making this final product, right? Once you have the final product, you have to know exactly where it's going. What's the lot number again? What's the quantity? Who are the clients that you ship the product to? So imagine that you have to do that every day, every week, every month for the whole year on a piece of paper. And then all of a sudden, you have a request from a client, you have a request from the government to know, hey, this product that you produced 3 months ago, it has a certain issue. Are you able to give me the history of that product? It becomes very tricky and very difficult to do the traceability, right? As opposed to when you're able to have that digital transformation on a software, it's just a matter of clicks. You select the lot number. Imagine that you're able to select a product and select a lot number. Then you have the whole history of that product or that particular ingredients. I had this ingredient, this quantity, this lot number from this supplier. I used it in recipe 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then I ended up in this final product, where the final product was sent to these clients. So it's much easier and it's much faster doing traceability digitally that way.
Thank you for that, Tangi. And a note to everyone, if you have any questions, you can drop them in the chat section, because our time is running out, but I think I've asked most of your questions. So if I haven't asked whatever maybe you inputted, you can also ask it there. So we are almost winding up. Just bear with us a bit. So Blessing, of late we've had a lot of people talking about AI. Even Tangi talked about it at the start. Where do you see it adding value today, especially in food safety? And where is it still overhyped?
Okay, I'll say it's not overhyped. One, it's helping with reducing human interaction with products. For example, we have tools that can help me know my quality parameters, inline quality parameters, without necessarily me checking and testing. So it has reduced testing methods or testing frequency, I meant to say. It has also reduced human interaction. If I need to pour manually and I need to bring in some few technologies that can help me to improve that. It has also helped with documentation. Like he said, audits are better now. I don't need to start bringing spending hours trying to spew data from a manual log. It has helped with documentation. It has helped with traceability. It has helped with it has helped in so many ways, including helping managers to work more efficiently, their teams to work more efficiently. If I can test and the equipment that is producing it can test for me. Then it has also reduced human interference. It has reduced contamination of products. It has reduced the incidents of recall or incidents of food safety breaches. It has helped with even emergency preparedness. Okay, when I have surveillance in my facility, people that should not be where there's access, it has improved access control. People that shouldn't be in certain locations, my AI cameras and other technologies can help me detect this person is in the wrong place, is not supposed to be here. So it has improved access control, improved traceability, improved documentation, improved inline monitoring. It has also improved testing frequency and methods. If I need to test because I don't have the right equipment or the right technology, I need to test maybe every 30 minutes. With the right technology, I may not even test maybe just a day. I just go and see the data and the trends, and it's even trends for me. So it shows me where I am having issues. I can tailor my efforts to the right things with minimal effort. So it has helped in so many ways. It's not overhyped. The problem that some of us have not learned to use it the right way, or we are not employing it in the right place. So we need to employ this technology. I'm employing it in the wrong place. People spend more in technology that will drive sales than what we even protect the brand, So that's, you're putting more effort in sales. But yes, what will bring the sales if the brand is protected? So bring technology to protecting the brand. But most times what they tend to do is to put more effort in where is most visible. One of my boss will say that the person that makes the product visible is more important to the company than the person that makes it available. But that shouldn't be true, because the person that makes it available holistically is what makes that product to sit on the shelf visibly and be bought. So you need to be able to invest the right technology in the right places. Well, it's a good place. Quality and food safety is also a better place. When the people are assured that I can buy this brand and I'm okay. So we need to invest the technology in the right places, knowing that this thing will actually bring also the highest return. It's not just about selling, but it's about staying in business. And that can only happen when you are putting money in the right places.
Amen. Preach, sister, preach. That was powerful. Tangi, do you want to chime in?
Yes, that was very powerful. And I'm not
Yes,
even sure that I have anything else to add. Thank you, Blessing. I think that's good. That's really good. Technology is technology by itself doesn't mean anything. It needs to serve a purpose. That's to summarize. And it always goes to what you need, with the technology. One example: if you need the technology to take temperatures in a cold room for the whole day, then it makes sense. That's your return on investment. You can use IoT sensors. You put that in the cold rooms and it takes the temperature for you. So you don't have to go there every day to take the temperature manually, right? That's why technology makes sense. You mentioned AI. Why do you need AI for? There's many applications out there. You need to see if it makes sense for you. In our case, we embedded AI through Nomics and we trained the AI to Nomics. So just imagine you have two possibilities. Option one, you write procedures, all the procedures yourself. Option two, you let the AI write the procedure for you, then you review, right? And you see if it makes sense for you. So it's not for everyone, but what we've seen is it really helps industry, because we are in industry that moves, very fast. You don't want to have a contamination. You don't even want to have a potential source of contamination. People want to sell their product not only in Africa but overseas. They have to align with international standard and so on and so forth. So we have to move fast. That's why technology is a huge support when you know how to use it. So that's what I will say.
Wow. I think we have learned a whole lot. And just if you have any question, Kindly drop it in the chat as fast as possible, or you can just raise your hand because I'm about to ask my very final question. You can also tell us your takeaway from this session today through raising your hand or just typing it in the chat. I'll give us a minute or two for that as I ask my guests the very last question. If I don't see any hand raised, we will close and we'll see each other next month. So, on to our parting shots. If you had to give just one piece of advice to a company thinking about going digital in food safety, what would it be?
Okay, my advice would be, first of all, align with your people. Understand where they are. Understand their educational level. Where are they? Do they understand basic computing skills? Understand their behavior. Understand, don't be that top management or top leader that does not come down to the level of the people. Because whatever you would introduce, the people will drive. So you need to understand the people. You need to also understand the culture. When I mean culture, I am not just saying culture of the organization. Culture, traditional culture of the people, because it also, we're not living in an isolated place. You need to understand how that affects. Take, for example, we have more than 250 ethnic groups in Nigeria, and these affect, they bring those traditional mindset to work. They don't keep it at home. So you need to understand how they behave and how they can react to change, because we all respond to change differently. So you have to come down to the level of the people and understand their pain point. Two, whatever solution you want to bring, having seen the problem, please keep it simple. Keep it simple and short, because I've seen solutions that don't work. Very beautiful idea, powerful for food safety, but they can't work. In fact, start from keeping your food safety policy simple. You see some organizations, their policy is so difficult, so hard, so difficult to understand. So keep it simple. Let the people be able to interpret that policy, because that policy is a driver. It's what makes every member of the organization know your vision as a business owner in the food space. So keep it very simple, your solution. Three, introduce the right technology. Because when I say right technology, you need to know the capability of your people, the capacity of your organization, the cost of maintenance of that technology. Because there are people that introduce technology that the maintenance cost is higher than the purchasing cost. So if I need a technology that the maintenance cost is higher than the purchasing cost, what is the cost benefit analysis of that technology? So you need to know the maintenance cost too. So finally, what I mean is you need to know the maintenance cost. You also need to understand how sustainable and reliable is that. I can bring a solution that can crash in the next 3 years. So you need to know how reliable is this. So understand people, simplify the solution, bring the right technology based on your capability and capacity, then finally sustain it through culture, because people are the driver. Reinforce, reward good behavior, reward people that are driving the right things, reward them, show recognitions, awards, simple recognitions, whether via emails, whether via fame boards, and then punish bad behavior, because truth is that wherever there is no punishment, there is no discipline. So you need to introduce discipline so that people can be able to take measures. So when I mean punish, I'm not saying you should sack people or query people, but there are ways that you can actually introduce discipline to your organization, because we're dealing with humans, and humans are the most difficult to handle. So you need to find a way of bringing discipline both to your resources, both to your technology, and both to the people that you manage. So with that, I feel technology will be made easy for every one of us. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Blessing. Make sure you simplify, use the right technology, embed it in the culture, and then reward and punish. Tangi, on to you.
Simple. I just put that in the group. If you want to know, if you have question about how to transition, just contact us and we'll show you how to do that. I put that in the group. I can share that over here. Please take a note of that. We're here to support. We are here for the whole industry. Again, we in 5 countries. I'm going to be in Nairobi in July, by the way. I want to introduce you for the ones that were not there before. John is our partner in Nairobi, John Waweru, and he's in the group with you. So please take a note of his email, his contact, his information. Contact him, or you can also write directly to us. But if you're in Kenya, please contact John, and we're going to be able to meet in a few months to have a chat in person.
Thank you for that, Tangi. Anyone who has anything to say before I give my closing remarks? At the count of 1, 2, and 3. Okay. So I hope we've learned a lot on technology, that it's not a new thing. Maybe to us it might be new, but in other countries, people are quickly adopting them. I'm not sure about your companies, but from what you told me in the form, most of you are actually assessing tools. So I hope this has given you a clearer picture on what you're going to work with. And as you notice, this is the first in a series that we'll be conducting. Yes, we've been conducting webinars, but if you notice this month, we had a new name, TechPalate Intelligence series, to talk about where the industry is headed, about tech, about data, about all the things you've usually asked on traceability, blockchain, all that. And we want to thank Tangi and Blessing for sharing all the knowledge they've shared with us today. I know we've really learned a lot. Thank you so much for gracing us with your presence, and see you in July, Tangi. Blessing,
Thank
I don't
you.
know when I'm going to see you, but maybe I'll see you next year in our conference, God willing.
Why not?
Fine.
Thank you.
Yes, sure.
Thank you,
So,
everyone.
bye. Have
Bye-bye.
a lovely night, everyone.
Thank you.
Lovely day to people who are in other time zones where it's not night. And see you in the next one.
Thank you.
Oh, and for
Hi,
everybody who turned on their camera today, it was lovely seeing your faces.
Hi, Catherine.
Oh, hi, Joseph. Hi.
You mentioned that there is a group.
Oh, yeah, we have different groups. We have people from different groups. We have the food professionals group. We have the quality assurance group. We have another one on food tech. Yes.
I think
You're
I'm
not
not
in
in.
either of them.
Yeah.
Okay, maybe you can just text me. I'll tell you when there is a vacancy, maybe, because it's usually so full.
It's okay. I can maybe text you on LinkedIn, and then
All
maybe
right. No worries.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. And you see, most people who join these webinars that don't even come from the groups.
It's okay.
All right.
Thank
See you
you.
guys. Yes?
Oh, thank you, Catherine. You are an awesome host.